think I probably jumped the gun starting this live a little early, but nobody ever shows up right at the beginning anyway. So, I haven't been able to put money in yet, bro. It's like, I just don't have any money right now. You know? It's when you call. It's when you call. So I'm trying to What's up, guys? Let's see here. This is where I fill up my gas. Love this thing. I bought it off a friend. Quick little story on this gas tank. It's 200. Each one of these is 100 gallons. And this one is 60 gallons. And that's where I put mix. The really funny thing is here, this trailer. Sorry, I'm listening to my other phone. Okay, here we go. So my buddy at one point needed, he wanted to set this up, and he saw that I had this little tiny trailer at my old shop, and he asked me if he could have it. Yeah, he didn't say, "Hey, I'll buy it off you." He just said, "Hey, bro, let me have it since you don't use it." And at one time, I was using it for aerations, right? It's big enough for like an aerator. So put the aerator in there. But then at some point, I stopped using it, and it just kind of sat in the side of my shop. And then he said, "Hey, man, let me take that off your hands. Just give it to me." So I said, "Yeah, go ahead, take it." So then he put these tanks on it, and then he'd hitch it up to his truck and then fill it up, and then he'd have it at his shop. So fast forward a couple years later, he wanted to make a bigger one, and he basically just wanted me to buy this setup, the tanks and everything, for what he paid for it. That was his way of paying me back. What's up, Jeff? Doing great, man. Hopefully you're doing great too. So his way of paying me back for letting him have that trailer was selling me this setup that he built for cost of what just those parts were. He didn't charge me for labor or nothing like that. So I was like, yeah, that'll be great. And so I've been using that ever since. And we have to fill this up probably every 2 weeks. But we fill up all the trucks and all the mowers. And this is the first month that we're actually filling up the trucks. Prior to this month, everybody filled up their own trucks at the gas stations. But we found that, people there'd be times where people would fill them up at the same time. And that the credit card took a big hit every time we did that. So I just decided, you know what, let's just fill this up ourselves so we can be a little bit more prepared for the cost, and we can budget a little bit better that way too. So we started doing it, and hold on. In probably 2 weeks, we're going to be able to tell how much money we've saved by getting all the gas ourselves. By the way, this is my section where I wash my equipment. So this is basically the employee parking. But on Fridays, half the team, all the Mo guys, not all of them, but 5 of the 7 Mo guys don't work. So there's this much space every Friday, and obviously on Saturday, nobody's here. We don't have any jobs for today. Oh, I got to turn off the water pressure. Jeez, the washing. I forgot what this is called. The pressure washer. Yeah, as you can see, it's got some issues here. Yeah, it's badass. We've got this. It's not rolled up right now because we have some issues right here. I actually have like 3 of these, and we keep rotating them because they keep breaking, but they're so good, like they're so awesome that I that we still use them. So that hose, the other hose, broke. So I've got one in here, and I've got this one here too. And I kind of feel like I don't know if there's another one, but between the 3, constantly fixing them. So anyway, I think I can take a little break now. I usually clean all the equipment on Fridays. Not all the equipment, but most of them, because we usually have 5 mow crews that don't go out, and so that gives me an opportunity to clean all the grandstands and the mowers. And we change the blades. We change the blades every 2 days, which equates to about 30 houses. So I'm kind of curious, how often do you guys change your blades? You know, in terms of how many houses before you sharpen the blade. In my case, it's every 2 days, and every mow guy has roughly 12 to 15 houses a day. So that's about, 25, 30, maybe 35 for some. Yeah. And I noticed doing it that way, the mow guys don't complain. I only basically change the blade on the 21-inch mowers every, um, every Friday. Although there are some guys that bring it before they go out, they take it off their truck, like, like on a Wednesday or Thursday, and say, "Hey, can you swap my blade on the 21-inch mower?" They don't do it every Friday or every week, but every once in a while they do. But the grandstands, I definitely swap every 2 days. So I don't really know. Usually I don't have any issues with anybody. And when I change the 21-inch mowers every Friday, um, I noticed that some of them are still, they're not sharp. Like, they won't cut my finger if I like touch it, but they're still sharp. Um, but some of them, they just want it like really sharp. Maybe they know like a specific picky customer that day. So they'll be like, "Hey man, can you just make sure this blade is sharp?" I don't really know all their reasons why they want the 21-inch blade sharpened more than once a week. Because they obviously use the grandstand 90% of the time. So anyway, I just need to take a little break here. I've got my Bobcat out there, because I use that Bobcat to lift my Ferris. Um, the Ferris is an awesome mower. It's just kind of a pain to wash because you can't lift it upright like you can a grandstand. And I know you're probably not supposed to do that to grandstands anyway, but it's, as long as, I mean, I've been doing that on grandstands for, I want to say 10 or 11 or 12 years. And the only issues I've ever had was when I lifted the grandstand and left it up for a long period of time. I'm talking an hour or longer. One of my workers said the last company he worked for, they lifted it up on a Friday and brought it back down on a Monday. So it was upright for like the whole weekend. And they said that thing smoked like a chimney, white puffy smoke for like 3 days straight. They thought that the machine was broke, but they just kept running it anyway because I guess they didn't have a choice. And finally the smoke stopped and everything was good. And then he realized you can't keep the mower up that long. I realized you can't keep the mower up longer than an hour when I did it one time and I turned on the machine and gas was hosing out like a fire hydrant out of the muffler. All right. You don't want that. That could have been bad. That could have been really bad. At the time, I actually thought it was water, believe it or not. It was like, man, did I get a lot of water when I was cleaning this machine in there? No, it was gas just coming out like a fire hydrant out of the muffler. So if you're listening and you're going to clean that grandstand upright, man, you better do it fast, and then put it down. But obviously clean it at your own risk. All right, let me try and see if I can get my little station set up here for somebody to get me a drink. Let's see here. Oh, I've got a monster that one of my employees gave me yesterday. I don't know if I want. I don't know if I want an energy drink right now. We'll just have a Diet Coke. All right, let me get my stand going. I think I saw some people putting notes or comments and haven't been able to read it yet. But I will get set up here in a second, and then we'll go over the week. I want to see how everybody's doing too this week. 1 second. Sorry, I know this is very unprofessional. Let's see here. How is that? Okay. What's up? Let me get my computer going here. Let's see. Man, I've got a lot of customer emails. You know, nothing really makes me lose focus like reading a customer's email. I could be doing something at home and really into it, and then I notice I'll get a customer email and I'm just like, I lose focus on whoever I'm talking to at home or whatever I'm doing. All right, let me read some of these. So, doing pretty good, Jeff. Just seen some rain here in Indianapolis, in Indiana. Patrick, good morning. I love the content. Some of the best advice I've gotten for my business has been through this channel. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Patrick. That's awesome to hear. Love to hear that. Let's see. ABC, what's up? Hope all is well. Going to the conference? No, I'm not. Not going to the conference this year. I mean, I guess there's still a chance, isn't it? Next month, October, probably because of Louisville, the Equip Expo. As of right now, I'm not. You know, I basically, you know, that conference is a cool conference, kind of, sort of. I don't really get inspired business wise, but it's really cool to meet and talk to a lot of people and stuff like that. But it usually falls on like my wife's birthday. So because of that, that conference has always been kind of elusive to me. You know, my wife, she puts up with a lot with me. She lets me do a lot, go a lot of places and do a lot of things. And she's the one thing though is like her birthday. She'd like to see me there, and I want to be there too. So that's one of the reasons why I kind of never can go to that conference. Another conference I can't go to because of a date is I forgot what it's called, but it's the Greene County Fertilizer Company conference they do in February. So they usually do that conference on my anniversary, my wedding anniversary. And yet, like I said, you know, my wife, she puts up with a lot of things with me, but missing like an anniversary or her birthday is where she kind of, you know, I think if I had it planned out, like, hey, you know what, um, you know, later on this year or next year, um, you know, I'd really would like to go to this conference. It happens to fall on these days. She would be okay because she's my biggest cheerleader. She supports me and everything. But I'd rather be here for her birthday or the anniversary. And I know you're probably thinking, well, why doesn't she just come with me? because she doesn't like this stuff. She's not into it at all, and I'm good with that. Actually, I you know I prefer that she's like she does her own thing and not really focuses on my stuff. I kind of like that. I have friends that are couples and they both like our business. They run their business together, and I could see that that could be kind of cool too. But I really like that my wife just kind of lets me do this, and she doesn't. She does her own thing, and she doesn't want anything to do with going to conferences. You know, that's just boring to her. And so I'm lucky in that sense. So anyway, guys, what's happened this week? Anything exciting? One thing I got to do, and I thought we did it yesterday, but we didn't. Was sorry, I need a drink. Hold on. Mouth is getting kind of dry. So, update with my eyes, in case you're wondering why I'm still wearing glasses. My doctor still says I have really dry eyes, so I'm on this medication. Kind of weird that I'm on medication for my clear the haziness of my eyes. They're hazy, and I think it's because of this yard, guys. It gets really windy here, and you can see dust like flying up a lot, and I think it's really messing up my eyes. I'm scared to tell my doctor that. I mean, I tell him that, I usually work in areas where it gets dusty. I don't tell him it's my shop because I'm scared he's going to like make some crazy recommendation that my wife is going to want me to follow. All right. Anyway, check this out. I bought this triclone trimmer head for my Mo guy. So we're going to put it on this trimmer here. Let me swap this around. So we're going to swap this out and put it here. Should be pretty easy. In fact, I think my guy started it because I gave him this trimmer. It's like brand new. And it had this guard on it, right? And he took the guard off. But I don't know why he didn't take this off. I could probably do it right now, but I got my hands kind of full. So it comes with these screws here. So I probably could do it. I just don't want to do it right now. But it's kind of weird because last I checked, my guy took this trimmer and he was supposed to do it. And I see that the guard's off, but he didn't put it on there. So, and I got this from Ballard for $60. My garden foreman, he was doing some brush weeding with the weed whackers, and he was like, "Hey man, do you have anything that we can kind of buy to cut through the brush and the big like I don't know, tree weeds kind of stuff?" And I was like, "I think I know what I can get for you." So I got that, and I'm hoping it fits. That's kind of making me wonder if it didn't fit, although it should have because it's Shindawa and it's pretty popular. And usually Ballard is really good about making products work with the most popular stuff. So anyway, that's what's going on here. I want to know kind of what's going on with you guys in snow. Um, like, how's that looking? You guys selling? You guys getting customers? It seems like there are days in here, like this week, that if you walked in, you'd think it's a snow company because all the phone calls and all the emails were like snow related, wanting to know if we do snow, stuff like that. So I'm reading an email really fast. Okay. So, yeah, I just want to do a quick live today. Just thought I'd say, hey, keep the Saturday thing going. Um, I kind of thought my guy would be here today, and I was going to show you him working on stuff, but it looks like he got everything done yesterday. I left early because I had a kind of like a party to go to. I don't know, call it a party. It was poker night, and so I head out of here. I left pretty early, and I was asking him, "Hey, if you don't finish the stuff today, can you come back tomorrow?" And he was like, "Yeah, no problem." And then so when I got here, I forgot to look at everything he did, but now that I'm looking at it, I think he got everything done except for that one head. Kind of weird that he didn't put it on. So anyway, I'll find out some other time. I could call him, but I don't want him to feel pressure to come in on a Saturday night if that's all he has to do. Just wondering what that noise is. Anyway, how is everybody? How you doing? Um, yeah, pre-sales are kicking in for snow. I'm loving that. And, we're still rocking with regular services. They say it's going to be like a really snowy winter this year. That's what Google says. I guess there's two places that really predict the snow weather that people usually rely on, and that's the Farmer's Almanac and one other thing I can't remember. One other place, but they both say, apparently from Google, what Google says is it's going to be a snowy winter, much like last year, basically the same thing. And that's going to be awesome because that helps with water, meaning the customers are going to be so worried about water restrictions and things like that. Um, and so that will make us busier. Um, and more problems are going to arise on the lawns because of the more water. So we're going to be more busy all around. So that's going to be good. Let's see. I did have a kind of a thought I wanted to ask everybody. And now I can't think of it. But if you have any questions, let me know. What's up, Walter? How you doing? Hope you're having a good Saturday. Hope you had a good week. Um, I had a pretty decent week. Although something big did happen. What did you miss, Walter? I don't think you missed anything. I was just putting the mowers away. So I had the camera kind of facing that. I talked about my gas tanks. Nothing really riveting going on here. I'm just trying to keep the Saturday lives going again, trying to get into that groove, answer questions, see how everybody else is doing, kind of maybe do kind of like a, hey, did this happen to you this week? Because it happened to me. What happened to you? Did that happen to me? Stuff like that. I did get, so I have a fleet account with Ford and a fleet account with Chevy, and none of them have reached out and sold me anything. I probably wasn't ready for new trucks this year. I was last year, and I'm definitely going to be. I'm going to do it next year. I'm going to budget for it, so no matter what, it's got to happen. We're spending way too much money on repairs. My mechanic, sometimes we take trucks to the mechanic shop because of some bigger problems that my guy like just either doesn't have the time to do or just would prefer to have a warranty on it, kind of stuff. And parts, you know what I mean? Buying parts for vehicles is expensive. It just never ends. I mean, so I want to buy new vehicles starting next year. I'm gonna replace probably all the vehicles. I don't know if I'll be able to do it all in one year, I want to get at least 8 Mo trucks. I want to replace all the Mo trucks at least, because those are the most gas spenders. Those are the ones that are more like, it's a bigger problem if one breaks. It causes issues to the rest of the company. So I want to focus on those first. What's up, Walter? You stressed? Rain backed you up, but the grass is growing again. Really busy week coming with the landscape and flowers. Guys are working right now. I'm also working in some designs in the office today. Yes, parts on vehicles I order on Amazon. We do too. We look around. We have a really great deal with, we actually have a fleet account set up at AutoZone. I didn't set it up. My mechanic did. He did. You have to use my credit and that kind of stuff. So I filled out the form for him. But then, and apparently we get like really great pricing on all the parts if we buy from there. But he still finds better prices on certain things online, Amazon, sometimes even like in like those Facebook, stuff like that. So he looks around because we're really conscious on saving money this year. It's kind of like the theme that all the managers have this year. But anyway, let me keep going with the Rams. So even though I have a fleet account with Ford and Chevy, Dodge reached out to me, and I keep saying Dodge, but it was Ram. They're the same company, but they are separate divisions. Ram reached out to me, and a salesman, like a truck salesman, came to my shop with a sample of the trucks that they can get basically in an instant. And I was like, it was basically a single cab, which is perfect for my mowing, long bed, which is perfect for my mowing because of the custom beds. We need long beds for that. And he said, if you needed one today, we would have it. If you need 2 today, we would probably have them. If you need 3, we'll probably just have to, and they'll be ready for you in a month or less. So I don't know. I wasn't thinking of getting Rams. The only problem with Rams is I can't fit the V plows on there. My Boss plows, they won't work on the Rams. The classic body 1500s, but that's all right because we are a company that does commercial snow plowing and residential snow plowing. And yes, it would be nice if all of the residential routes had somebody with a plow to do the driveway, but it's not necessary. You know what I mean? It's like that's a heavy, big cost to put on every single truck, and it's just not needed. Unfortunately, for the labor guys, for snow workers, they're paid a set amount no matter what, whether they're on a plow making it easier or they got to go out and shovel. They're paid the same. So they don't really care. And it's a job for the winter. It keeps them having a good job. Maybe in the future, maybe we can even find a cheaper plow just for the driveways for these Rams. You know me, I'm not trying to be rude to my workers, but if there is a better, easier, more affordable way, I probably will look into it. But as of right now, my V plows won't work on those trucks, and I'm not worried about it because they do have 4-wheel drive, and we are going to have a ton of residentials. So I'm not too worried about it. If they get you a good deal, yeah, and they're a good deal. That's the other thing about it. Those trucks, I mean, worst case scenario, right now, I'd be paying $37K for a truck. Right now, worst case scenario, but he said he can get them down cheaper for me. And so that's freaking awesome. I do have a friend who went forward. He actually had a good dealer that actually gave him trucks when he needed them. And so I told him, dude, in the last 2 years, I've spent over $300,000 on truck repairs, parts, paying for my mechanic, all that inside that 300K, and taking it to the shop for them to do stuff to the trucks because he either didn't have time or he wanted warranty stuff or he couldn't do it. He needed somebody more experienced to do. 300K in 2 years. I mean, that could be like 10 brand new trucks. You know what I mean? So my buddy, he basically got new Fords. I don't know if it was this year or last year. I think it was this year. And he said that his repair budget was like zero. So, I mean, think about that. I'm spending 300K on fixing my trucks and keeping them going for the same amount of money that he paid to have brand new trucks. I mean, pretty crazy. Um, Pretty crazy. So that's what I want to do. In fact, my bookkeeper told me to do this 2 years ago. And like I said, 2 years ago is when I got my fleet accounts. No, has it been 2 years already? Damn, time flies, doesn't it? Walter, so will you sell them one by one or all at the same time? So I did talk to that guy, and I said, would you take these trucks in as trade value? He said he would, but he's like, I'm being honest with you. You're not going to get very much for these trucks because we can't sell them on the lot because they're so customized. So he'd have to take them to auction. So we wouldn't get much for them. But what I think we would do is, so here's my plan. I want to start with 2 trucks, whether I finance them or I happen to save up enough. I don't know how that's going to happen. Griff, what's going on? So I want to start off with 2 trucks, okay, next year. And then the 2 trucks that we replace, I want to keep those for backups, right? So I'll just save those. And then whenever I can either afford to buy another truck, that's when we'll start trying to sell those trucks. But the first 2 I'm going to keep as backups for the other trucks. You know what I mean? For the other ones that aren't brand new. I mean, and like somebody commented last year, um, a brand new truck could still break down. Like it really can. But the thing is, my dealer said that if he were to sell me these trucks and they were breaking down, he would give me replacements. He said they don't always have the replacements, and that's something he can't promise, but he can try, and it's an option. And so, and if there is a repair, I mean, there is a warranty. Um, that's the beauty of fleet account is you do kind of get a better warranty because they know you're using it to pay those trucks and things like that. A man called Kodiak, 300K. If you can't cut that expense, then yes, time for new trucks. Yeah, I mean, and that's in a 2-year span. You know what I mean? That's so like about 150K a year, and that's just it. Doesn't you wouldn't know? Like I didn't know it was 150 grand last year until my bookkeeper told me because it's just day by day, right? It's like, oh, it's fix this truck, dude. I got 2 trucks. Oh my gosh! Right now, I've got a truck at Chevy. It's a $3,400 repair. Luckily, my guy, he's kind of taking a couple weeks off, so it's like I don't really need to fix that right now. Plus, I have a backup truck for him, so it's just kind of sitting there, and they didn't fix it yet, so I haven't said yes. So, but that's a $3,000 repair. I've got 2 trucks here that need a transmission. We've got a good deal on a guy that says he's going to replace both transmissions, rebuild them himself, but that's what he does for a living. And he's going to rebuild both our 2 transmissions for $2,800. So 3 plus 2, that's 5. So we're looking at $6,000 right now. And I swear there's another repair somewhere, and I can't think about it right now. I can't think of it. So right now, it just creeps up like that. It's like, if this is a busy time right now, that truck at Chevy that's got a $3,400 that needs a $3,400 repair, I would do it. I would say, yeah, go ahead and do it. And those expenses just add up. You know what I mean? And next thing you know, your bookkeeper's telling you, hey, dude, you're spending $150K in repairs. Just buy new trucks. I'm giving you permission to buy new trucks. I'm giving you that option because you're spending way too much. Hey, Freddie, are you on Angie's list? I think so. I think I know I was in the past because I won Angie's List Super Service Award. I don't know if they give that out to everybody or what, but I've won that a bunch of times. But and I used to advertise that I won it. I would hang up the certificate and all that. I don't care about it anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah, it all adds up. I know people are hard to find, but you need an in-house mechanic. Yes, and I do. Sorry, I can't read because there's a little icon on my computer that, because my screen is scrunched up a little bit, I have to try to read around it. Bill, did that $150K include the truck you bought and painted and put racks on? No, that does not count the trucks I bought. That goes in a different category as an asset. No, it just counts repairs, or when we go to like O'Reilly's Auto Parts or AutoZone, those charges go on that account. When it goes to Big O Tires or Jim's Mechanic Shop, that goes into the 150K account. Paying the mechanic his weekly paycheck, my in-house mechanic, that goes towards the 150K. Do you know what I'm saying? And you'll probably say, well, you need that in-house mechanic anyway. But my buddy that just bought 10 trucks this year, said that he actually had to let his mechanic go because he didn't need him. Now, my mechanic, he's also the mowing manager. He's also the one that goes and talks to customers when there's problems with the mowing. He's the one that deals with the mow workers. He's the one that deals with their equipment. So I think I would still need my mechanic. Technically, he would be called, like, at that point, his new title would probably be like operations manager, something like that. But so I'd still be paying for my guy either way. But you know what I mean? You know, it is what it is. Well, that's a hell of an expense. You're right. New trucks make sense. Yeah. And it's one of those like cool things where like your bookkeeper says, "Hey, man, I got to talk to you." And you're like, "Oh, what's going on?" And he's like, "Hey, dude, I was looking at your vehicle expenses. Do you know that it would actually be cheaper if you bought new trucks rather than repairing your pieces of shit?" And I was just like, "Really?" It's like, "Yes." And we talked about it for like 30 minutes. And so when I hung up with him, I was just like, "Yes." So I went to Ford and Chevy right away. I'm talking, I went there so damn fast, and I went in with a smile on my face, like, "Hey, I need to, I want, I need to buy a fleet of trucks." And they were like, "Whoa, this is awesome. Okay, come over here, buddy. Let's go talk about this." So they set me up with a fleet account. I had to show them proof that I had 15 vehicles already. That's the way that you get a fleet account with them, with both places. And apparently they're both owned by the same company, I think, anyway. Just one's Ford dealer, one's a Chevy dealer. But I still had to do two applications for the fleet accounts. But you know what? They never called me. In that year, I was actually ready to pull the trigger on anything. My credit at the time was probably a lot better than it is right now. That's the other thing. I kind of feel like I'm cheating on my normal car dealer right now because even though I haven't bought anything from anybody else, my guy, man, he's so awesome. He goes to auctions all the time. He sends me pictures of trucks at least once a month, at least once a month. And he knows kind of the truck styles that I like and at the price point I like. The problem with that is they're not brand new trucks, so they don't have any warranties. And the other problem is they have to use my credit, like my personal credit at his dealership. His dealership, um, I guess, agreement with the banks is they can't do anything with business accounts. So that messes up my credit because, even though all my personal stuff, my personal vehicles are paid off because I do buy cash for those things. Um, so my credit looks really good. But then when I buy two trucks, it's usually you buy two at a time for your business. All of a sudden now I have two trucks. I have a hard time getting a third one because they think I'm using my personal account for two vehicles, and sometimes I can get three, but then they won't let me have any more until all those are paid off or whatever. But that's not even the problem. The problem is they use my credit, and so if I happen to be using, if I happen to use a credit card, a personal credit card, or even a business credit card that's tied to my name, my credit is horrible, and then you know what I mean. So it's just like a pain in the butt. So I need them to use my business credit, which is always good because they look at the revenue that it brings in. And when they look at that, they usually approve me once I give them proof of all my statements and things like that. So let's see here. Bill, sorry, I didn't see your latest. Will they be able to get you the color you want, or will they be white? Okay, yeah, good question. He's looking into the color. He says that they do change the colors periodically, but right now the blue that they have is more like a navy blue. It's kind of dark, and that wouldn't work for me. But he recommended that I wrap them and not paint them. They're single cab, so single cab paint job is like, if I really try hard enough, I can get it down to like $700 to $900. Worst case scenario, $1,000, but I think that's high for just the cab, not the bed. Do you know what I mean? Because we take the beds off, you know, um, and that's what costs the most money is painting the bed. But we do save our beds so that when we have to do snow on some of the trucks, on the mow trucks, we can do snow with the cages that are like that. But with the plow trucks, we take the custom beds off and put, the bed on it because it's got to carry all the salt, easy to get to. It's for big parking lots. We need a lot more storage kind of stuff. Roy, what's up, man? Let's get it. Let's do this. Yeah, just telling everybody I had a good week this week. I talked to a Ram dealer. Wasn't really a choice of mine to go Ram, but I had a dealer come to my shop with a demo truck and basically made me a promise that if I wanted a truck, they'd get it to me super fast, no matter how many I needed. And so that was kind of cool. So that's got me thinking. I can't put any of my boss plows on them, but for the shoveling for the residential properties and the driveways and sidewalks, those trucks will be fine, 4-wheel drive. I would be able to use them all year round. So that's really exciting to me. So that's kind of one of the things that I was talking about. But yeah, the color. Because see, here's another problem with my trucks. When I go to sell them, even when I sell them like on Facebook or something like that, I get a lot of interest. People come look at the trucks all excited. And while they're looking at it, they're like, oh, this is really exciting because I've got trucks with really low miles. Dude, I've got this truck over here. Hold on. This Chevy S10 with a utility bed on it has 70,000 miles, dude. Nothing. Sorry, don't know if I've got to zoom back out or what. Oh, hello. What's up? Sorry, now I got a lot of comments. I can't see myself. 70,000 miles. That's nothing. But they look at that color and it's so bright that they don't want to buy it. And I'm like, just paint it. And they're like, yeah, well, that's another $1,500 or $2,000. And they're right, you know. Um, so I probably would benefit from wrapping them so that when I do go to sell them in the future, I just take the wrap off and they're white, and they might not be so dented, marked up. You know what I mean? I don't know about dented, but marked up. Um, but yeah, I'm trying to sell that truck there for $4,500. And I've had people come into the shop, look at it, and go, "Dude, I want this truck." You know, they're like, but it's so damn blue. You know, I'm like, yeah, I know. I sold my van. Um, I just sold a Chevy Express van. Again, a lot of interest. Tons of people wanted that van. When you've got like a Chevy Express and you put that online to sell, you will get so much interest. Everybody wants those trucks. The problem was it was so bright and blue that nobody wanted it, until this guy who has a business, and his logo, he didn't have any work truck. He just kind of used his own truck, but he didn't really have like a business truck, like a van. And that truck, or that van, was similar color to his logo. So he was thinking that might work. That color might work for his business, and so that's why he bought it. So I kind of got lucky there. But painting that van, yeah, that would be like $3,000 to paint. What else? Um, we're doing some big projects this year. I was telling a buddy of mine, I was telling him how good the landscaping division is doing. Roy, we wrap all our trucks for the same reason. The only downfall is they last around 5 years. Oh yeah. Then we have to. Sorry, I can't see because of the stupid icons here. Then we have to decide if to wrap it again or sell it. But still worth it. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't really think about that. Because when I paint my trucks, like, I never really notice that anything, like, the paint's always there, even if it gets scratched. But I guess on a wrap, it would have more issues. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Sometimes my logos are just decals, and sometimes those will kind of come apart. And so if you look closely on some of the older ones, you'll notice it, but I don't really think it's that big a deal. I don't know how the wraps would look if it makes it look really bad, or if it's something you only notice because it's your truck. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, really interesting, good stuff there with the trucks, because it's a cost that you don't realize. I mean, I over the years I've tried to buy good trucks, but sometimes you come across a truck that's maybe 2000 truck, and you can get it for a really good deal, and you need a truck, so you buy it, and next thing you know, like, every year you're dumping like $1,000 on it every year, or more. Transmission will go out, and now you're spending 7K on it. You spent 7K on the truck. You could have bought a really better used one for 14K, but you didn't think about it. And then it just kind of catches up to you, right? Because right now I have 20 trucks. And, out of those 20, there's some trucks that I probably got at a good deal, but they're ticking time bombs, really. I mean, they could break at any moment. Um, so, and I know that can happen with a brand new truck, but it's a lot less likely for sure. But yeah, what else here? Um, Equipment was doing good. Our mow guys were doing good this week. We have a new guy who he's a mow guy, like, got a job. He wants to mow. He was working for a landscaper doing pavers and things like that, and that just wasn't what he loved doing. He'd rather mow. So anyway, he applied here. talked to him, kind of had to give it some thought because I just wasn't sure. But then I gave him a shot, and he turned out to be really good. The reason why I didn't think to hire him right away was because he was really kind of like in some way shocked that we have one man crews, and I didn't know if he was going to be somebody that could do that. Um, but anyway, I gave him a shot, and I'm so glad I did. He's turning out to be really good. He started basically the same week as we promoted somebody in the company and gave them their own mow truck. They came from the gardening, they were weeding, and I put them in the mow truck. And I said, "There's better opportunity here. We do pay for performance with the gardening, but it's not as good as the mowing because you're working by yourself, and so you don't have anybody to rely on. Like you can do as much as you can without worrying about anybody holding you back." And so we gave him a shot. The same week we hired this new guy, and the new guy has gone above and beyond the guy that was already working for our company. He's mowing a lot more houses, double the houses that the other guy is. They both started at the same problem. They both did training with other people, but when they went on their own, they were both like the first couple of days. They both did about the same amount of houses, but then one of them just started getting faster and faster, and now he's doing double what the other guy can do. So that's pretty awesome. Bill, to wrap a single cab in my area, it's still a couple grand to have that done. Once they start cracking, you want to get it replaced because it'll affect the paint if you let it go. That's true. Yeah, true. Um, yeah, those are things I got to think about. So I told, because he asked me, my dealer asked me if I had a guy that wrapped, because at first he thought my trucks were wrapped. And I said, no, we just paint them, and we do it quick and dirty. And I'll never complain is my promise to the paint shop that paints my trucks. I will never complain. Just give me the best deal that you got, that you can do, and I will never complain of the quality of work. But the quality is great. It's just even one time I was like, hey, you don't even need to sand it, just paint it. And he's like, dude, Freddie, we have to sand the trucks. All right, the paint won't stick if we don't sand it. So anyway, they do a good job, but I've never once gone back to them and said, "Hey, look, this paint job sucks. You got to refix it or touch it up." Never done that in all the years that I've been painting my trucks. I've used the same company the whole time. They've even changed brands, even changed owners, and I still went with them. And they knew about me, as the other owners would tell them, "Hey, this guy, And now I'm the only. So now that company went from being a Mako, and now it's like a collision repair place. It's changed so much over the years, and now I'm still the only customer that they will paint trucks for, or any vehicles for, without it being a collision kind of insurance claim kind of thing. Because that's how loyal I've been with them, and they're pretty loyal to me. The only thing is, I feel like it's starting to change a little bit now that I've got 20 trucks. I haven't been going there. Like, I don't even know if I went there this year. I might have. I can't remember. So I had one of my employees go there for his own vehicle. I said, hey, take your vehicle. Like, you need your vehicle painted. See if they'll give you a deal, since they do all these trucks for us. And they gave him like a super high price that I kind of feel like our relationship is kind of like going down a little, since I haven't been using them very much lately. Walter, ever since we started implementing your pay for performance, now the guys want to work more and don't complain about doing more yards. That's awesome. That is awesome. Now I will say, I have had euphoric years, right? Happy, perfect years where my workers were like, "This is the best thing ever," you know. And then I've had a year this year where they were actually upset. They weren't. it's kind of weird because they know that pay for performance is good. They know that, but they still um, had issues with it this year. Um, and so, and partly it's my fault too, because when I did pay for performance last year, I didn't know what I was doing. Actually, it was 2 years ago, and I didn't know what I was doing. You know what I mean? So I was kind of doing it wrong, but I was giving them a lot, and I was happy doing it. The only so what I was doing back in the day was I pay them for their budget hours, which I still do now. But for example, if they actually clocked in and clocked out, and they had 40 hours on their, we'll say 50 hours on their check. No, sorry, 40 hours on their check or 30 hours, but their budget hours on their jobs was 50 hours. I paid them on their check as if they clocked in for 50 hours. So they would get like 10 hours of overtime. You know what I mean? Uh, and they loved it. They loved it. Even though they only worked 30, sometimes some of them got 50-hour checks. And I was happy doing it, man. It didn't bother me. I was bragging about it that I do it that way, because I was just so happy. They were happy. Everything was so euphoric, brother. It was so good. But then we implemented PTO here in the company, and then we couldn't do that anymore because that wouldn't be fair to the other workers that clocked in for 30 hours, but their PTO is 30 hours. But yet the Mo guys, they clocked in for 30 hours, and their PTO would show that they worked 50 hours. So it just wasn't fair. So in fact, my general manager, who's Rachel, she basically was like, "We can't do it that way, and we're not going to do it that way. If you want me to do payroll, I want to do it the right way." And I'm like, "You're the boss. If you're doing payroll, we're going to do it your way." Um, and anyway, it ended up so the guys just kind of hated that. Like they hated that we made the change. I also made another change that the guys didn't like, but I did tell them about it. But I also explained to them, look, guys, when I started this budget hour thing, I didn't know what I was doing. So I obviously made some mistakes that actually benefited you guys. But now that I've got things more handled and I got to do things differently, it's not going to be so amazing. It's going to be better. It's going to be good, but just not as great as it was the year before. So one of the things that I had to change was, so here's the problem. The guys would pull into the shop, right? And they'd park their truck. They'd get out of their car. Sorry. They'd come into work, get out of their car, go straight into their work truck, turn it on, and leave. They wouldn't do they didn't have to unload any grass. And when they get back to the shop from the end of the day, they would park their work truck, get out of their car, get out of their truck, and walk towards their car and go home. They didn't unload their trucks either there at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day. They didn't have to do that. They didn't have to do nothing. They just park their truck and go. Well, in order to keep that great work atmosphere, I basically emptied their trucks for them, right? I emptied out the grass on all their trucks because we have that kind of like ramp lever thing that we dump grass. So it wasn't really hard, but I did have to move the trucks and I did have to, lift and dump it out and scrape it out and sometimes leaf blow it out, clean it up, and then park the truck again. And I did that because I loved that the guys were just knocking out jobs. Okay. They would do, I have guys that'll do like 25 lawns by themselves. And these aren't like HOA houses that are like right next to each other. Like, these are drive into a normal residential house, knock it out, go to the next, drive to the next one. Every once in a while they might have a house next to each other, but because, you hear stories of guys that can do 40 houses a day, but they basically park their truck and they just do every house in the neighborhood. My guys are doing 25 up to 25 houses. Some of them, not all of them, can do that. That's a lot of houses. That's hard work. But they can do that, and they're driving from house to house. And I just wanted them to come back to the shop, park, and go home, dude. You did a great job already for me, so I don't want you to like. You don't need to do the BS and unload the grass. I'll do that for you because that's my way of saying thank you, kind of thing. You know what I mean? And also making it a good work environment. So if they ever were to quit and go to another place, and their bosses were like, "Well, you got to empty that shit," they're going to remember how awesome it was here, and maybe they'll come back. Or maybe they'll never leave because they know they'll never have it as good as they did here. That's kind of the way I think. You know what I mean? So it got to the point where I was like, I still don't want those guys unloading the trucks and stuff, but I need to hire somebody to do that for them because I can't do it every day. I mean, there were times where I go on trips, right? I go on my week-long conference trips where I learn business stuff. And at that point, we're kind of assigning somebody to do this job, or we're telling the Mo guys to do it, and now they're doing it. And they're probably like not liking that or loving that. So what I did was I hired somebody for that position. So somebody comes in the morning, unlocks the gates, open it up, starts all the trucks, fills up their gas, takes their grass out, all that stuff, gets them all ready for when they drive into the shop, they go. So what I did was, in order to pay that guy, I took 5 minutes out of every budget hour of the mowing. I lowered everybody's budget hour by 5 minutes. That gave me enough money to hire somebody and pay them pretty good to do that. The guys started noticing that time, right? Because they started noticing that they had less time on each house. Even though it was just 5 minutes, there was kind of a big, almost like a strike. They basically did a little strike on me where they were like, this ain't fair. You took we're already struggling to get these houses done in the amount of time you want, and now you lowered the time. But I basically talked to everybody, and I said, look, dude, somebody is unloading your truck. Somebody is doing all this stuff, cleaning your equipment, sharpening your blades for you, and we got to pay for that. Like, we got to pay for it. And it's the best way to pay for that is the mowing. It's the mowing guys. That's the person that's doing all this stuff. Is for the mow guys. So that's what I have to do. And I'm sorry, like we got to do it. And so that was something we had to go through. And I think now at this point, everybody forgot about that. It's a forgotten thing because it really is valuable that person does all that for them. And it's like, it makes sense. But the budget hour where I used to pay for the full overtime with budget hours thing, that still bugs people that we don't do it that way. So now what I do is if somebody worked 30 hours, they clocked in and out for 30 hours, and they earned 40 hours, budget hours, their check shows that they clocked in and clocked out for 30 minutes or 30 hours, and they get a commission that's equivalent to 10 hours based on their pay. So if somebody's getting $22, their commission is going to show $220. And then it's going to show 30 hours clocked in and out hours. That's how their check stubs now look. And although, like they're still getting more money than they clocked in and clocked out for. So technically they should be good, but because I started doing pay for performance the wrong way, that was way overpaying them. When I had to switch it to the legal, better, right way of doing it, they were upset. So you got to make sure you do it right when you launch P4P, pay for performance. And you got to figure out if you want to do a percentage of revenue per list or budget hours. I like doing the budget hours, but it's harder to figure that information out. Okay. So that's why most people do the percentage, because that's easier. You don't need to know anything other than how much money you made. You're going to get a percentage of that. Let's see. I bet that took so long to do. I heard something like that with Tommy Mello. I'm not sure what you're talking about now, though, Walter. I went on such a long rant. I don't remember what I was talking about that comment was for. That he's overpaying commission in the beginning. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. But my guys know I mean well. They know I mean well. They understand that, because I literally had to explain it to my, what do you call it? There's always somebody in your team, one of the workers that everybody else listens to, and that person is called like the influencer. Excuse me. So you have to let your influencer know exactly what happened, so that when the other guys are arguing about it, the influencer can say, "Look, I talked to him. This is what happened. He didn't do anything wrong. It's just that he was stupid." And now we were used to it, and so we feel like we're not getting enough, but he's actually doing the best he can. You know what I'm saying? So, so that's what you got to do. But the problem is, my influencer didn't understand what happened, and I tried to explain it. And the funny thing is, I had to explain it to him again, like 3 weeks ago. He approached me again, and he's like, "Can you just remind me one more time?" Here's the issue, though. He's actually trying to get a loan for a house, and so the way that we were doing it that first year would tremendously help him get a house. Because when you go to buy a house, they look at your hourly wage and that you're making hours. They don't care about commission. They don't care about bonus because it's not guaranteed. So banks hate that. And so he was having issues with that. So I had to kind of go over it again with him and stuff like that. So we worked it out. But that's the thing. You have to get the influencer on board. Walter, yes, that's perfect, especially because there's always someone like that in our Hispanic community. That's true. That's true. Yeah, there's definitely, yeah, because with communication, sometimes there is somebody who's a better communicator with, you know, the job, and then he can communicate that to the workers that can't understand what the job wants them to do, or you know what I'm saying. So yeah, that works out good. What I started doing is having meetings with everyone so that if they have any questions, they can all listen. Yeah. So we do a company wide meeting now every Wednesday, and I believe we had our fourth one this last week. So now what we're doing is we give out an award we call it the Pledge Award. So whoever lives up to our core values the best this week, he will get that award next week. Um, he'll get that award next week meeting. And once we do that, we talk about something either new that the company is implementing all together. We all talk about it and then, or we go over a safety issue, right? So like this week, I said, we told everybody that if you get hurt really bad, um, the urgent care addresses are in the glove boxes. So if you open any glove box in my fleet, there'll be a sheet of paper that's by itself, and it says urgent care on it. It's got all the addresses. So if you're like in the south side of the county, you can go there. If you're in the north side, you can go to the ones that are there. Wherever you are, should be one close by. So that way you don't have to ask the office. You just go, because those places for sure cover you under workers' comp. If you go to another place, eventually you'll get paid back, but you got to wait for paperwork and you've got to wait for a refund. You're going to have to pay for things until you get a refund. So just go to those places if you can help it. Another thing we told them, that if you get hurt and it's not that bad, but it's kind of is, but it's nothing that's going to be long lasting or whatever, still tell the office. Because if we record that happened, and then in the future that pain is still there or gets worse or something, we have track record that, yes, that did happen here at the shop. So let us know, even if it's not that important, so that we can back you up if it does get bad. Because, insurance, they like to fight, man. They don't want to pay for nothing. But when the company says, "Yep, here's the proof, and we emailed it to you," and all this and that, it's all good. After we talk about all that together, then we break up into divisions. So I usually go with the sprinkler guys, and I'll talk to them about what's important to make that division work better, smoother with the customers in the office and all that stuff. Jose will go with the mowing. Rachel would go with the gardeners. And then this week we actually brought in a tree subcontractor who's going to do our tree work. He was part of the meeting, and it was great. So, yeah, we're getting into trees now, but contracting wise, we don't have the stuff. We're just going to be subs for now. But we're working out a great deal with this new subcontractor that we've got. Really wants to be a part of this team. Really wants to work together, and he thinks in the possibility in the future merging together because he sees the potential, and we see the potential in him. So it could be good for everybody. But that's pretty much how my week went. Um, yeah, we did lose. We did lose another office person. So we lost two people. Last week, I told you one of my guys went on a church mission, so we lost him. And then the next week, uh, the other phone person says they got basically a dream job, and so they couldn't say no to that dream job. And it's like, well, okay. So now it's basically me, Rachel, and Daisha in the office, and it's actually really fun. It's been really fun. I'm kind of glad that that's kind of happening. Man, a few months ago, I was getting audited from the workers' comp. It was a huge headache. Oh man, I hate audits, man. I hate workers' comp audits. I also you get audited for like insurance too, like auto insurance and um, liability insurance. And in fact, I guess because I didn't answer the liability insurance, they send you that email that says, hey, you need to, if you don't answer these questions by this date, you're going to get charged whatever. I guess I didn't see that email, and I didn't do it. So they charged me $700. And so I called my insurance agent, and I'm like, dude, what's this $700 charge? And she's like, what? You shouldn't have been charged an extra $700. Let me look into it. So she looked into it, and then she got back to me and said, look, apparently you got audited and you didn't respond. So that's what they felt you had to pay uh, if you did have an audit. And I'm like, well, that kind of sucks. Like, can I fight it? And she's like, you can, but there's a chance you could end up paying more, or you could just let it go for $700 and it just be over with. And I said, all right, let's just let it be over with. So that's kind of what happened. But the workers' comps have always been a headache. This next workers' comp next year is going to be the easiest one I've ever had probably in my life because I'm now having the payroll company do it. So the payroll company that pays my employees, they take out the workers' comp that they give me. They have some kind of workers' comp. So they don't, there's no audit because they literally take out what they need to by the penny. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the exact amount they take out every week, no more, no less. So I won't get a refund on workers' comp, but I won't owe money either. There's been a year where I got $6,000 back from workers' comp, and I was so happy. But then I never got a refund back ever again after that year. I've always owed like $6,000, so I'm kind of like sick of it. I hate those audits. Yes, that's exactly what they wanted to charge me. But we responded literally last minute. Yeah, it probably wasn't that hard to do those audits. It's just I don't like doing them. It's just something that I don't think about doing, and especially when you're getting threatened, like hey, if this isn't done by a certain time, we're gonna screw you over somehow. I don't like getting those emails. You know what I mean? Um, let's see. All right. I talked to some guys that I know, gave them some advice on a division that we have because they want to start a new division, and I think I gave them some pretty good advice. Um, what else? This is a tough business, man. It really is. It seems easy to get into and stuff, but I guess all businesses are pretty tough. You got to pay people. You've got to keep them busy to keep paying them, or else you'll have to do it. And then you need to make enough money to pay yourself, plus other people. It's crazy how tough it is, but you got to love doing it, man. I was telling another guy this too just this week. You have to love this. You'll get knocked down, you'll get smacked, punched in the face, you'll get sued, and you'll have moments where you're like, damn, this sucks. But then, you know, after time, you can laugh about it, right? I was telling my friends last night, we were talking about spreading salt. Hold on, Walter. Easy to get into, hard to succeed. It's true. Um, you know, they were talking about salting, and when we all first started salting, we used a little wagon thing that spreads salt, even on a giant, huge parking lot. We've all done it. Probably I've done it. With a little Echo seed spreader spreading salt um, on a huge commercial parking lot. And we were all kind of laughing about that. And I said, I got sued because of a snow count that I had, and I had to go to court and testify about what we were doing and what happened and all this stuff. But they never once asked me how I spread the salt. They all asked me if I spread salt, and I said yes, I did. Of course, I spread salt, but nobody asked me how you spread salt. So I was like, how you spread salt is not important. It's the fact that you spread it. But when I got sued or whatever, and I had to go to court for salt. Um, I never, I was scared and I was depressed, like we all are when we get like this thing, bad things happen, and maybe you broke something at somebody's house and you get all upset and sad about it, but you get through it and then you learn from it. So that salting incident, or not salting, but that snow incident where somebody broke their foot getting out of their car going to work in a parking lot that I cleared. Um, I learned a ton. I learned so much stuff. Thank goodness I was covered for. I had insurance, so that's something you need if you're going to do snow or something crazy like that. You got to be insured. And so immediately I felt like, okay, I'm getting sued, blah blah blah, but it's covered under my insurance. That's just business. It's fine. But you still feel bad, right? Well, through that experience, I had two lawyers. I have two lawyers because of that experience. I don't remember why. One of them was like the insurance. Something with the insurance called me right away, and it was a lawyer, and he asked me these questions. And then there was, and I was able to ask him questions too, like, what should I do going forward when you have snow customers, right? Yeah, you should do this, this, this. This is what you need to do. And then I had my other lawyer that was the one that was basically in charge of the case with me, and that's the one that I went to court with. Again, given to me by insurance. So I had these lawyers with me because of insurance, and they taught me so much because the lawyers that I dealt with only did snow snow cases, like it's snow injuries. That's all they do. And so they know exactly what you're supposed to do when there's not when there's a little bit of snow on the property. These are the things that you should do. When there's a lot of snow on the properties, this is what you should do. If there's no snow on the property, this is what you should do. And this is how you follow up on all these things. I mean, it's just like, wow, I never would have known this, and it all makes sense. So those are things that kind of learned what contracts should say, what they shouldn't say, when you shouldn't have a contract. Like, in my case, it actually benefited me that I didn't have a contract. I know that sounds crazy, but there was no contract on the business side, and there was no contract on my side. Now, it was a long 3-year process case, so I'm not going to go into it. And it's not that easy. Just because I didn't have a contract, that's not what made me win. You know what I mean? But it was one of those things during that whole process that helped me, among a lot of other things. And again, it's all covered by insurance. Insurance would have paid it if they did. Like, I don't even know if my insurance paid it, but they never increased my rates. They never, nothing ever came about it. And I think it's been done. My lawyer from that case never called me and said, "Hey, it's all done. It's over with." He told me at one point, he said, "Hey, this was a while ago." He said, "If you don't hear from us in 5 months, case is done. No worries about it." I said, "Okay." And it's been over a year and a half. So I know that the case is over with, I think, and nobody's ever said anything to me. So, but I learned a lot. Mike, quiet lawn. What snow? It's this thing that falls from the sky, and then you somehow your bank account fills up with money. It's weird. Yeah, that's what snow is. And then there's a lot of people that love skiing out here, dude. Apparently, we have like some of the best skiing in the world here in Utah. But yeah, never happens here, or never heard of her. I can't see. Walter, I'm gonna head out, Freddie. Lunch with the wife. Catch up later. Later, man. Thanks for chatting, bro. Um, yeah, it's really weird because you would think it snows a lot here in Utah, and it did. Yes, last year it snowed over 100 feet. Can you believe that? 100 feet. Um, I wish it snowed 100 feet every year or nothing. Like, well, I shouldn't say that, but there are years where even when it doesn't seem like it snows, we still push 10 to 12 times. Even on a year where you would ask somebody in the corner of the, walking on a sidewalk, you'd say, "Hey, last winter, how many times do you think it snowed?" And they say, "Oh, probably 3." And we go, "Okay, no, it snowed 12 times." So it's really weird like that. So then people the next year think, "Oh, well, I don't want to buy snow services, so it's hardly ever going to snow." Even the years that it doesn't snow, we still push 12 times, which is a lot. That's once a week during the wintertime. That's a lot. And then this year, on average, because we've been looking it up, it's 28 times. So our emails, I've been sending emails to everybody saying, "Hey, I don't know if you want to sign up with snow, but last year we pushed 28 times at your house." And just letting you know, hey, that's a lot. And if you don't sign up by a certain date, we're going to be full, which we will be with snow. Anyway, guys, I got about 5 minutes. While the season has slowed down, I've been going home around 12 every day or every Saturday, and spending more quality time at home. Something that I don't really do very much. I don't know if you guys know that about me. I'm definitely a workaholic. I leave my house really early and I stay here pretty late every day. Um, just making sure that everything's buttoned up, everything's the way it needs to be, ready to go. You know what I mean? Ready to go, handling fires, fixing things. Um, right now there's not much I could really do in that case. But I still clean the equipment. Um, I'm releasing my need to talk about business and lawn care through YouTube with you. So I'm always doing it. What's work? Yeah, man. I wish I had a little more of your business style where you don't, what's a good word? Because I'm not trying to say it's good or bad, um, but like hands off. You're really hands off, Mike. And what's funny is like I was telling, hold on, Bill. Unfortunately, that's what's required to run a successful business. Lazy, like, nope, you're not lazy. That's why you wanted to run a business, right? So you can have the lifestyle you wanted, and that's the beauty about having a business. You set it up how you want. Um, I I think some people set up their business so they can have the lifestyle they want, and there's other people like me that set up their business so they can have the business they want. And I focus more on that than I do on anything else, which has served me okay. And luckily, everybody, like, family is important to me, and thank goodness they're fine with my choice of running my business. But I was just telling somebody, so I met with who's probably on here, maybe Brent. My buddy Brent came to visit me yesterday, and we had lunch. Love when he stops by. Um, and I was telling somebody in the office, one of the managers, "Hey, I'm heading out for lunch today. I got a friend who's coming by. We're gonna go to lunch." Um, and she's like, "Yeah, who is he?" And I go, "He runs business." Um, and so she was asking me about his business, and I said, "Yeah, he's really hands off, kind of business owner." And she said, "Well, so are you." I said, "I am." She think I'm like, "No, seriously, you think I'm hands off?" She's like, "Yeah, you're definitely hands off." And I go, "Dude, I'm like right now, I'm like wet with like from working on the equipment." And she's like, "Well, yeah, you do that. You're always working on equipment, but as far as the operations and dealing with customers and the sales stuff, like you're totally hands off. You don't micromanage. Like when I leave here to do estimates, I don't hear from you all day, you know?" And I'm like, "Huh, that's really interesting." You know what I mean? Like just how like somebody's concept, I feel like I'm here all the time. My good friends think like I am here all the time. And she admits that, like, she acknowledges that I'm here all the time, but she says that I'm hands off. And this is a manager of mine that's like in the trenches working in the field, and now she doesn't actually like plant, but she does estimates and she's telling the guys what the job descriptions are of stuff, and then she's answering phones and doing estimates in the office all day. Like she's busy, efficient as can be, and she thinks I'm hands off. What do you guys think of that? I'm curious because I was like blown away that she thought I was hands off. You know what I mean? Because I feel like I am in this thing like too much a little bit. So that's pretty funny that that's what somebody thinks, and maybe it's just the mindset. Maybe I should think that like that. Um, Here's the problem, guys. I try to hand off my all my job duties, which I've done. To be honest with you, I've handed off all my main job duties, even emptying out the truck. Somebody else does, But washing the equipment, like that's like the equivalent of like those old pictures of like the business owners sweeping the sidewalk of their in front of their business. Like, yeah, there's some things a business owner just does. You know what I mean? And me, I clean the equipment. So I actually on Fridays, the guy that does all the empties out the truck, sharpens the blades, that kind of stuff. He can clean and change all the grandstands and all the machines like I do. He can do it just like me or better. Okay, so I trust 100% that he can do it. I just do it because I like doing it, and then that gives him opportunity to clean the trucks a little deeper, right? Because I won't do that. You know what I mean? But he makes sure the custom beds are perfectly clean. So there's certain things that I like doing just because I like doing them. But for the most part, I handed off everything, payroll, you name it. I handed it off, and it was total chaos for me. I was in a state of chaos because I felt like this isn't going the way that I want. Like nothing was going the way that when I was doing it, I felt like it was smooth. When I handed everything off, it was probably going smooth, but in my head, I was like, I don't like this. Mike, sorry, I got to move some of these words. Might as well be hands off if they already think that. Dude, you are hilarious. Like, that is so funny. That's good, dude. I love it. But I can't. I can't. I can't be sitting at home or doing anything. I feel I'll go nuts thinking this place is probably going to catch on fire. That's the reality. I don't go around telling people they're doing things wrong. I'm just the hall monitor. I'm just what do you call that? I'm just the guy that just watches and makes sure that nothing. I'm like the security guard, right? You go to these places with security guards and they don't really talk to anybody. They just look around all day. That's what I do, and I feel like I do that well. I'm also looking at where the opportunities are, and I do talk to the managers and say, hey, I think there's opportunity to do quality checks. I think there's opportunity to upsell this. I think we should be changing. I think when a tech goes to the properties, they need to do this, this, and that. I do that all day, and I wouldn't be inspired to think of these things outside of work. I don't think. I mean, when I go to my meetings every whatever quarter with the masterminds, um, I do learn things, but I'm still I'm in an environment too where they pull this information out of me, and and it's there, and then you get to use it and do stuff. But I don't think I can do that like at my shop or at my house. Sorry, or fishing. I have to be here to do it, and I know it sounds crazy, but it's just the way it is. All right, guys, it's 3 past 12 o'clock. Probably gonna head out now. I'll wait for some see you laters from everybody. Um, Hopefully, you guys have a great weekend. What are you guys doing? Um, this weekend. Next weekend, is it next weekend? Yeah, next weekend I'm going to Idaho. I think. Who's in Idaho? Anybody's in Idaho? Don't ask me what part. I'll tell you later. I don't know where it is. Um, you're the man, Freddie. Have a good one. You're the man, Mike. You have a good one too, bro. Griff, have a good one. Take care, Bill. Later. Nico, later. Have a good one, man. All right, guys. Take it easy. See you on the next one. Comment if you have any questions, and I'll see you then. Driving to Savannah to recruit my GM. Right on. So you bringing them there? Cool. Roy, appreciate you, man. Thanks for calling me yesterday too, man. Like, it's just awesome. It's awesome talking to you all the time, Roy. Appreciate that. Garrett, have a good one, Freddie. I fly the kids all day tomorrow as a volunteer pilot. That's awesome too, man. I hope someday you can fly me, dude. That'd be awesome. Idaho, stop by Washington. I don't know if it's that close, is it? Um, my daughter's doing an internship and we're gonna go see her. My wife is missing her and her baby, so and my daughter's baby. So we're gonna go. We're gonna go check. We're gonna stay there for a weekend. I don't know if it's next week or the week after, though. I can't remember. But anyway, hit me up if you're in Idaho. Well, actually, I wouldn't be able to go do any shop tours when I'm with my wife. I think she'll be like, no, no, not doing that. And I don't want to have to be, you know, negotiating that with the wifey. So, all right, guys, take it easy. It's fun talking to you guys. I wish we could all join on live. Like, that'd be cool. Like a Zoom kind of thing. Roy, later. All right, forget. Oh, yeah, it's on here. Later, guys.